After that unfortunate result that we got on Monday, we are now the team that is on the hunt. And unfortunately, it's been a terrible, 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 terrible last week, right? We started obviously at the end of last week being embarrassed in the Copa del Rey. We were hoping to see a result, a performance, something that can give us something to, be smile about. But unfortunately, Barcelona did not do that. In fact, they somehow, some way, have made our mood even worse. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Omar Talks Football. And welcome, guys, to yet another episode of the Blaugrana Podcast. Pre-recorded, guys. Obviously, you guys know we usually do this show every Monday, guys. But of course, it was Barca versus Girona on Monday, so both of us were busy. But here you are, guys. Your daily, Blaugrana Podcast, guys. The best Barcelona podcast on YouTube. And yeah, we're doing this on Wednesday today, guys, because of that, guys. We're gonna keep it back to a regular schedule next week, guys. But of course, you guys know, guys, Blaugrana Podcast is nothing without my co-host and my guy in the mud, my partner in the mud, man, like Barca Boy 103. Bro, how you doing, man?
Not too good, man. Not too good. These past two results have not been encouraging whatsoever. 1 goal scored in 2 matches, 6 goals conceded. This might, I don't know if I'm wrong or not. This might be the first time we've had back-to-back losses under Flick as well. So things are not looking good, bruv. But still, the title's in our hands some way, somehow.
I mean, I'm glad that you're, kind of finding the positives because, look, it's been 2 days, right, since the game. And I'm not going to lie to you, man. Like, really going back and checking and recapping on the game, the amount of issues that, honestly, I saw from that Girona game and obviously from the Atletico game that we saw, it's really disappointing. There's so many problems, so many things that I could call out. I could call out the players from the goalkeeper, from the defense to the midfield to the attack. I can talk about the tactics. I can talk about the lineup. I can talk about the manager, which we're going to get into all of that, right? Big up to every single one of you guys. So you guys already know what to do. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and listen, half it. Let's just dive straight into it. And one more thing, guys. I don't want to move on any further without actually saying this before I do continue, guys. Happy Ramadan Kareem to all my fellow Muslims out there. Obviously, you guys know me and Hafid. We're both Muslims. This is being recorded on a Wednesday, so there is Ramadan, guys. Both Hafid and I will be fasting. And hopefully, we can, our prayers will be answered. And obviously, I will be praying that Barcelona actually give me a better mood than what I'm going through. And don't worry, guys. Right? I know we want to be more positive, and we are positive, man. It's a beautiful month, right? So, Ramadan Kareem to all of my Muslims out there, all of the Muslim Barca fans, and just Muslim football fans, and everyone who subscribed to my channel. Ramadan Kareem to every single one of you. And listen, guys, let's get straight into this. Hafid, obviously, Monday, we lost 2-1 against our Catalan rivals, Girona, right? We were 1-0 up. We bottled it. We ended up losing it late. And honestly, man, bro, the worst thing about the game that I took, I don't know if you watched my, watch along or my match reaction. I had an opportunity to go back and watch yours, right? Now, for me, the worst thing about the game was I saw nothing, no improvement from what I saw against Atletico Madrid. All of the things we heard happen going into this game was Hansi Flick drilled it into the players. Hansi Flick gave these players the hair dryer treatment. Hansi Flick gave them the kick of the butt that they needed. That's all we heard. That's all we've been hearing. We were hearing that he had given them what they needed. He let them know how embarrassing they were against Atletico, right? And all of the talk is that now they're locked in. They're locked in. They're really, really upset about the game against Atletico, and they cannot wait to get out there and prove the fans wrong that was just a blip and that we are back. But no, Hafid. And that is why this game pissed me off. That is why I lost it. I was angry against Atletico, but I found myself that Girona game really, really, really put me in a moment of rage. I genuinely saw nothing. Nothing. I saw the same thing defensively. I saw the same thing attacking wise. It was a pathetic performance from defense all the way to the attack. The only shining light was the guy who didn't even play in the Atletico game, which was Rafinha. He was the only one that actually looked threatening. The defense, Hafet, the defense, brother. Once again, the amount of time Brian Hill was just bypassing our high line, the way these guys were just moving our high line, bro. Guys like Eddie Garcia keeping them on side, right? Like, let's be honest. If Girona had any finishing in their arsenal, this game could have ended massively bad. It could have been a 4-5-1. Let's be very honest. These guys were very wasteful. They are trash in finishing. It says a lot that as trash as they are, they still won the game. Because, bro, the amount of opportunities, especially in that first half, that they had on a plate, that if they had any finishing in them, they could have slotted in easily, was incredible. I was watching this game saying, bro, apart from the fact that Girona haven't really made us pay in this first half, I see nothing different from what I saw from the Atletico game. The only difference is that Atletico actually had gunmen who actually put the ball at the back of the net. That's the only difference. And despite all of that, despite everything, despite all of the things we saw, right? Somehow, some way, we were given a lifeline. We were bad in that first half. We had a few chances. Rafinha hit the post, right? Amazing chance. Rafinha had 3 shots, but all 3 were dangerous shots. He was the only one that was trying something. Yamal had a one-on-one and tried to chip the keeper. Fran, bro, don't even get me started on that, dude. I keep telling people about this guy's purple patch, right? You can see, bro, the purple patch is gone. We've seen the last few games, bro. The purple patch is not there anymore. You understand what I mean? It was poor. The attack was poor all around, apart from Rafinha. But somehow, some way, we were given a lifeline. Right before halftime, somehow, we get a penalty. Very rare penalty, but we got one. It was a rightful call. And what really pissed me off wasn't just the mishap. It was the fact of what Lamine Yamal did before the penalty was taken. I'm sorry. Rafinha last season, he was the designated penalty taker behind Lewandowski when Lewandowski wasn't playing. We knew that. We knew Rafinha was the penalty taker. Rafinha took the ball. Rafinha wanted to take the pen. Yamal took the pen off him, right? And the effort that he put on that wasn't good enough. And I'm gonna talk about Lamine Yamal. I don't want to make this a Lamine Yamal, blast off. Right? I'm just gonna talk about the game, right? We go halftime 0-0. Second half starts. I see no improvement. All this talk about second half FC. We always talk about how we always come back from the second half, right? The more intensity because the manager lays it into them about how bad they were in the first half, right? But I didn't see any of that. There was no high intensity. There was none of that intensity we see at the first 5-10 minutes of the second half. None of it. But somehow, we got the goal. Kobashi, cross comes in this time, the goal counts, right? And you're thinking, okay, it's not been a great performance, but let's just get out of here with the win. Let's get out of here with the win, and, that would increase the morale. Literally, we didn't even get a chance to even, recover, enjoy that goal before we knew it. The defense, again. Bro, I'm getting sick and tired of saying again when it comes to the defense, bro. I'm tired, bro. Route 1, straight into the box. Thomas Lemar, 1-1. 1-1. And I sat there after we equalized half it in the 70th minute on my chat. I've said it before. I'll say it one last time. The fact that I predicted that if this game is 1-1 in late into this game, and I mean very late, like 85, 90th minute, if this game is still 1-1, these guys are going to get the winner. I just felt it. This uneasy feeling that you get when you're watching the game and you're like, this just stinks of us losing this in the end. I didn't. The last time I felt this way, Hafid, was the Atletico Madrid game in the Montjuic last season. And guess what? We also lost that game late. The same uneasy feeling I had in that game, I had in this one. And I told my child, I said, guys, watch. Late in the game, we're going to battle it and we're going to lose. They're going to score if we don't get the winner by then. And long behold, 87 minute, 86 minute, Beltrán puts it back at the net. And that just encapsulates that embarrassing performance. It just encapsulates this. And I know you're probably going to talk about, I know I watch your match reaction, you talked about the referee. I don't think the referee was great. Don't. Okay? He does deserve criticism. But I'm sorry, I am not putting him at the center of attention in this situation. The center of attention needs to be on our players. It needs to be on this manager. I'm sorry, we have to put the attention on what really, really matters. Right? But, Hafid, I've had my say. Talk about the game for me, man. What did you think about it?
Okay. I think I, of course, resonate with everything that you said. I think the most frustrating part of the night for me was, like you mentioned, conceding right after scoring. My reaction has kind of gone a little bit viral because of that sense, because it's just so frustrating in away games to see how we just can't hold on to a lead, especially when we need it. If you really dissect all our away La Liga games this season, there's not been one that's easy apart from, I would say, Elche. You look at this one, we lost to Sociedad, we beat Elche. Levante, we need to come back. Oviedo, we need to come back. Bernabeu, we lost. You know, we talked about how good our away form was last season. And I think this season now it is costing us. We had a lot of away games this season, it feels like. Hopefully we'll have some, games at the Camp Nou coming up, since a lot of our away games were during the beginning of the season. But it has that sense, especially, this year alone, I think we've only played 2 home games, which was Oviedo and another one. I think we had Copenhagen and Eintracht Frankfurt as well. So it feels like we've had less than 5 home games this season. But yeah, the defense is all over the place. I think we should have had that game wrapped in the first half with the amount of chances that Rafinha, Lamine, and Fran missed on the penalty. I think Rafinha knew that Lemar was low on confidence and he gave it to him. I don't even think Lemar asked for it. From the video that I saw from, the behind the scenes, Rafinha kind of, saw Lemar walk behind it, like, here, you take it. Lemar's like, thanks. Lemar was 6 for 6. It's his first Barca penalty miss too, right? So you can't just say, like, oh, he was going to miss it. You had that, feeling because he was playing so bad. This is Lamin's worst game in a Barca shirt by far. I don't think any game really comes close. So, yes. He gets that penalty, he scores it, his confidence goes up, he misses it, it's going to get worse. In the end, he missed it. At least he hit the target. I mean, he hit the post. I'm clutching at straws here.
No, come on, man. Don't do that. Like, respectfully, bro, it's a penalty, bro.
I know.
You got to score or you missed. You know
we've been shut out penalty this season, too. I think Lundo's missed 2.
Yeah,
Lamin's missed 3. I think we've had maybe 8, 9 penalties this season. We've only scored 6 or 5 of them, so we've been quite poor from the spot. And like you mentioned, the referee, I think
should have taken it. I'm gonna be
real. Again, you say that now. I think at the time it wasn't, too rash to give to Lamine. Again, Lamine's, 6 for 6 for Barcelona. He only missed 1 beforehand, which was for Spain in the penalty shootout. I mean, it's not like that far-fetched. He's taken some big penalties this season as well, which he's scored. But you mentioned about the referees as well. I'm not going to get into it as well. I think Flick said it perfectly. Yes, the referee was bad, but we're bad as well, so we cannot be complaining about the referee, right? If we do this game and we played well, you can complain. You can have the focus on the referees. That's fine. But when you play like shit and you try to escape with a draw, but now you leave with 0 points instead of 1 point, it ain't going to make a difference. I don't even think Girona were that good in this game. You talked about Brian Hill having space, which is definitely a concern.
Bro, they were not good, but they created so many chances. Bro,
they
made them better than they look. That's what pisses me off, man.
That's the problem. Yeah, I mean, like, I never felt threatened by them whatsoever. Of course, we're going to never remember this Joan Garcia masterclass in goal as well. It's just shit all over. And unless we need something to change. So I think we talked about this in the middle of the season when we lost to Chelsea. I said there needs to be a reset. There needs to be something that changes. Flick made that change, which was, sticking with Kubarsi and Eric Garcia. Essentially, he said he was playing a lot with Gerard Martin there, and Araujo before he went his mental break. He made that change. He stuck with it. It came good the first few weeks, and now I think it's getting a little bit exposed. And I told you from the beginning as well, I'm not too keen. I don't really like this Kubarsi, Eric Garcia center back partnership, not because of the individuality, but because of how they work together as a unit. So I think Flick really needs to do something in that defense. Where's Cancelo? We've signed Cancelo. He's probably the defender that's earning the most amount of money as well. He's not playing whatsoever. Is Cancelo that much worse than Koundé? That's the question that we need to start asking ourselves. I think Koundé, yes, definitely is better defensively, but I think his overall game is shit. He can't even dribble the ball. At least Cancelo can do something forward, even though he will leave space at the back. You can play Araujo on that side, so you kind of compensate with that recovery pace, even though Araujo is shit. But you gotta change something at this point. If you just keep rocking up with this ball that Koundé, Eric Garcia, Kubarsi back line, it will get exposed. But of course, the main highlight is it starts in the midfield. The midfield is non-existent. The press is non-existent. We talked about this in the last pod on my channel for the Atletico Madrid game. We said that yes, Flick high line, blah blah blah, whatever. But the summary is that the midfield didn't press, and they did not press in this game either. Frankie and Olmo left everything so wide in defensive transition. It was easy, like you mentioned, for Girona to find space, occupy it, and pounce on it. I thought on the ball as well, the midfield didn't look too bad, to be honest. We looked much more comfortable than we did the Atletico Madrid game when we had Casado in the midfield. It looked much better. I thought Dani Olmo I think him and Joan Garcia were the only ones that played semi-decently in this game. But with no press, with no intensity, you get found out. Again, like you mentioned, Ferran Torres, I mean, this is why I said people talk about signing a striker, Vlahovic, when Fran Torres is not even our better striker, and Lewandowski's, I think overall still better than him. So I think there are some moments where you can start Fran and some moments where you can start Lua. I think this is more of a game for Lewandowski, especially after Fran played the whole 90 minutes against Atletico Madrid. You can even say need a little bit of a rest as well, but that didn't happen. The real thing for me is I question why Flick didn't use Cancelo in this game. I also question why he brought Rooney on the left. You could have at least moved Lamine in the middle and had Rooney out wide.
Bro. Like,
Rafinha just came back on an injury, right? So that was definitely a planned sub, like Flick confirmed. He couldn't play more than an hour if we were losing 5-0.
Is he injured or not? I don't think he's injured. He just came back from injury. Okay, that's cool. But
yes, but you can't risk a relapse. That's the point, right? So you can only play.
Okay, but that's fine. No. See, I don't have an issue with him getting subbed. The thing is, people have this idea that I'm angry that he got subbed. It's not that. I understand. He's coming back from injury. He's not 100%. He's getting my fitness. That's all fine and dandy. But Hafid, my problem was the timing of the substitution. It was too early in the game. For me, at least let him stay till the 70th minute. I'm sorry. It's one. If we were 1-0 up, let's say it was 1-0, right? It was 1-1, right? You want to keep your best attackers in there. Let's regain our lead. Let's let him help us because we know Rafinha, he's got that in him. He can just get up. He can just pop a goal out of nowhere. And that is what we were missing. That, that directness that he was bringing in this game that we didn't see from Yamal or Ferran Torres. You understand what I mean? When he had the ball, he was trying to shoot. He was trying to look for the space. He was looking at the space. He was like, no matter how tight it was, he was trying to go for it. And that was how we were going to get our goal. Let's be real. The way the game was going, that was how we were going to get a second goal, right? From someone taking a risk and smashing it. And that's why I was like, for me, we should have kept Rafinha a little bit longer, right? I'm not saying keep him for 90 minutes. That would be dumb, right? But leave him there until the 70th minute, maybe 75th minute, right? And let's say, at the end of the day, you don't want to risk it, cool. But at the 75th minute, even if it's 1-1, I can understand it. I can be like, okay, well, he's coming back from injury. I kind of get what Flick is doing. Taking him off during the most important time in the game was what, for me, I didn't understand. Because even if he is now match fit, the way the game was going, we needed him because of how bad we were. Because of how bad we were playing, we had to keep Rafinha on the pitch longer than we needed to, right? And we ended up paying the price because really, after he left the pitch, come on, Hafid, let's be real. What did we create of significance after he left the pitch?
But where I disagree with you is that whether we were winning 10-0 or losing 10-0, he was getting hooked at the hour mark. When a player comes back from an injury like this and he's, at risk of a relapse, you have to manage his minutes. This is the same thing when he came back from previous injuries. The same thing with Lamine Yamal as well. The question really was it better to start him or was it better to bring him off the bench? In the end, they chose to start him. I think that the substitution was time. That's the reality of it. Flick confirmed it. Rafinha confirmed it as well. So no matter what, you can say, oh, you could have said to yourself, oh, we need Rafinha for another 10 minutes. You make a point there, but like, oh, do I want to risk Rafinha for 10 more minutes where we will probably lose him for maybe another 2 or 3 weeks? We have big games coming up, or you take the L. And that's what he did, right? I don't think Rafinha staying on for 10 extra minutes would have changed anything. Maybe we could have gotten an extra point, but is there a difference between 1 point and 0 points? Not really. I prefer to have 3 points at the end of the day, which we should have had. I think the error comes in, which is why my reaction was as angry as I was the fact you conceded immediately after scoring. And this is not the first time we have done this season.
Yes.
Every single time we score a goal, you think, all right, we got control of this game. We deserve the lead at that point in the first hour. But yet again, lapse in concentration and Kundidi with his shitty ass defending every single time. There needs to be a change in this back line because Balde, Kunde, Eric, and Kubarsi as a four-man defensive unit
doesn't work.
Not cooking. Yes, they can beat Real Madrid because vibes and stuff are on the line, so maybe they can somehow, some way pull it out. But things need to change. Either put Eric out right back, bring in Arujo, bring in Cancelo. I mean, Balde and Kunde know that they can walk into the middle of a Flick press conference, slap him in the face in front of all the cameras in the world, and they will start in tomorrow's game. That is the reality of it. They have absolutely zero competition. We had this issue in the past with other left backs that were in this team, with other right backs in this team. When they have no competition, they have no fear. You sign Cancelo, you're like, okay, maybe they get a little bit of fear, but yet again, they're dropping stinker after stinker. Kunde's had 2 good games in this entire season, away at Newcastle and away at Atletico Madrid. 2 goals against Frankfurt ain't going to shadow that shit performance overall. The reality is that he is surplus to requirements this season in offense, in transition. Yes, defensively, somehow, some way, maybe he can do a job. Maybe his role will be better off the bench for the rest of the season, but we will never know until you try. You do have a somewhat easier game this weekend. You're back at home at the Camp Nou. Pedro's going to be back, so that's going to solve all of our problems. But things need to change in that back line. Whether you want to attack, you want to adjust the system, style of play, tactics, blah, 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 personnel, I don't care, but something has to change. This back line is getting exposed too much. Juan Garcia said after the game that we concede too many chances. I should be standing there doing nothing. The fact that I'm making these saves does mean that there are more issues. This back line is easily got at. Yes, Eric Garcia and Kubarsi individually have had, quite decent season so far, but Balde and Kunde have been atrocious. Something needs to change in the back line.
Bro, I echo everything you said. I'm sorry, man. I get it. We don't have any good defenders. Bro, I'm telling you right now, Hafid, in the summer, I would genuinely go on a bargain sale. I promise you, I'm not kidding, right? I take off my glasses right now. I'm not kidding, okay? No defender, there's nobody in this defense that is beyond saving. None. So maybe some of them I might tolerate. Some I have no tolerance for. I'm telling you right now, Hafid, for me, in the summer, every player in that defense is surplus to requirement. Every single one, right? We get a good offer for any of them, sell. I'm being that serious because we need to prioritize the defense. I get it. Our attack, having that number 9 is a problem. We know that. Okay, cool. But one thing about my club is we score goals. Scoring goals is not Barcelona's problem. It's not. Okay? We all know that, right? We score goals. But defensively, this is a problem. We used to talk about it being a problem in the Champions League. It's not becoming a problem in the league. It's becoming a problem everywhere now, right? And this defensive 4, it doesn't work. I'm sorry. Look, I don't know what Cancelo is doing in training, but I have seen Kunde on the pitch, and nothing that this guy is doing in training is bad as what I'm seeing on the pitch. I'm sorry, it's not so bad that you can't give this guy a chance. This is the problem with Flick sometimes also happens. Sometimes he does this where whether if it's transfers or with players that are coming back from injury, right? He will take so long to give these guys opportunities that until the fans start asking the question of why is it that we're not seeing this player? Why are we not seeing this player yet? Why is this player not starting? Why is this player not playing games? You understand what I mean, right? We'll talk about Bernal. That's what we're talking about with Bernal. For the whole of the first half of the season, he was fit. But guess what? He wasn't being played. He wasn't being played at all because the manager was taking his time with him. You understand what I mean, right? And I don't understand because this is a 6-month loan deal. It's not like you have this guy permanently. What are you waiting for? How many more trash performers? Like, bro, couldn't they have to start scoring own goals for you to finally be like, okay, maybe we need to get this guy off the team right now for the time being, right? And this is another thing I have to say. Hafid, why haven't we seen Araujo start since the Albacete game? Because we saw in the Albacete game, I don't care if it's Albacete. That was his first game back in the starting 11. I think second game back since, he took his mental break, right? And he cooked. He's supposed to be one of our leaders in the defense, right? Obviously, we know Araujo. We know as good as he can be, he has the bozo moment. But guess what? Every single player in this current backline right now has a bozo moment. Every single one. Beggars can be choosers, right? If the current backline is not working, change the back line. It's not rocket science. If Araujo has given you something different in the Albacete game, that should be something that should give you something different. You should be looking at him now and saying, okay, cool, I have Araujo, right? So if one of these players will perform well, Araujo is back in 11 again because he's shown in the Albacete game that I can trust him to give him another opportunity in the first team, right? And look, when it comes to the Eric Garcia-Kobashi partnership, I already knew that wasn't going to work because these two players, they are very similar in the way they play. And I feel like last season, the reason why the Kobashi and Diego Martinez partnership was is because they were two center backs that were doing two different roles. I was doing the show with Dave yesterday, right? The Madrid to Barca part. He even mentioned it. He said, not having Inigo, right? Whatever you think of Inigo, the reason why we miss Inigo, honestly, is because Inigo brought something different what Kobashi was bringing. So they complemented each other. They were not in each other's way. You understand what I mean, right? And not being in each other's way made the partnership work. Because remember, when we were at the start of the season, when we had that partnership, we were worried as Barca fans. We were thinking, first of all, Inigo Martinez was surplus to requirements at the time, and Kobashi was a young kid. But guess what? For most of the first half of the season, it worked perfectly because they were both doing different roles. When you look at Kobashi and Eric Garcia, they're very similar. They're very similar. They both want to be on the ball. They both want to be the one starting the play. That's what they want to do. You understand what I mean, right? And sometimes they clash. Sometimes you can see sometimes the communication doesn't always work. That's why most of the time, look at the game against Girona. How many times was Eric Garcia keeping them on side? Most of the time they went one-on-one. It was Eric Garcia that was keeping them on side, right? The communication is not there. The communication is not there for the line to be built. You understand what I mean, right? And that is why, for me, I'm looking at it, I'm like, come on. I know Araujo had a bad game in the Champions League, right? But that is not enough. If he is fit, give him an opportunity. Give him an opportunity because he will bring something different in that backline to something that Kobashi and Eric Garcia don't bring. And that's what we need. That is what we need. But the manager is very, very stubborn. And you know what happened? Let's actually talk about the manager. Okay? Here's my thing with Hansi Flick. I kind of get why some of the fans are flick out. I think some people can call it reactionary, but I think a lot of the reasons why a lot of fans want the manager sacked is because, right, for some of them, they look at this manager and they think, okay, when it works, it's amazing. When the tactic works, when the information works, the attacking is beautiful. But this manager has shown that when it doesn't work, his ego doesn't allow him to just say, you know what, this is catastrophic. The tactic is not working at all, and we are getting absolutely ripped apart. Okay, let's change. Let's change it because this can't continue. Something has to change right now. We saw it in the Atletico game where we were getting ripped apart. He could have just said, okay, cool. I don't want to lose this game any more than I need to. Let me take the 2-0. Let me take the 2-1. Let me even take a 3-0. That's fine, okay? I have the attackers. Maybe we can go, or when we go back, we come down, we get a 2-0 lead. Something could happen. But no, nothing changes. And this is something we see with the manager, though, happen. Because this is not the first time, second time, or third time. Even this season alone, though we've seen this. When the fact that the high line yesterday, the defensive line was all the way in the midfield. Again, just like it was against Atletico. I'm like, Have you learned nothing? Especially considering Girona were breaking through the high line just like Atletico were. Nothing changed. And I'm honestly, Hafid, it's irritating. It's like when you're watching Araujo, where you know that when he's on his game, when he's on his day, he can be very reliable, top defender, reliable defender. But you always know that when he has that one bad game, oh, it is not bad, just bad. It is catastrophic. It is like in the worst time that he will have his worst game. And it makes you forget how good he was the past few weeks. And sometimes that's why I think when it comes to Flick also, when it doesn't work, half it, when his tactic gets exposed, it is so bad that many people forget, oh, wait, we've actually not been that bad this season. But it makes you forget. And as a manager, I'm going to be real, that kind of stubbornness, it doesn't endear you to the fans because the fans will always know, yeah, it will work, but what happens when it doesn't work? What happens? Because you've seen it now. He's a one-trick pony, this manager. Let's call him for what it is. He is, Hafid. He plays one way. And you're seeing now, especially against like the teams that are in the lower half that you mentioned, they're beginning to understand that this manager plays one way. So what do? They set up a certain way because they know where the line is going to be because he always puts the line in the same place, right? So they're like, okay, let's set up this way in the attack and we can break through them. Let's just use our best, our most, the fastest wingers that we have to basically make sure that we overrun them. Beat the high line and you go one-on-one with the keeper. You know you're going to get a one-on-one in the game because their high line gets exposed every game at some point in the game. This is the problem. He's becoming that kind of manager. He's become tactically naive and also he's being tactically arrogant. His ego doesn't allow him to just say, okay, it doesn't work today. It's not working today. Let's tweak it today.
Remember what I told you back in October, November when we were going through a bad spell on the podcast? I told you that these players somehow, some way, for some sort of reason, like to have one season great, one season off. One season great,
Yes.
one season off. Right? And I told you that
Yes.
this is aligning with the World Cup being in December because the last time there was an international tournament, we played like shit. And I told you, if we don't win the Super Cup, I think the season is overall toast. We're kind of seeing the effect that I mentioned, which is, the players kind of giving up, not giving up, but like dropping off in level, not really caring, blaming each other, pointing the finger. But then you win that Super Cup, you get that boost, you make it to the Copa del Rey semifinal in quite easy fashion, I would say, against three second division teams, with Real Madrid getting knocked out. All you have to do is just survive. All we can hope for as fans is that this week is just an off week, right? Because we know that this team has been performing well since December. We know that this team has been playing well and things have been in effect when everyone does their roles to their level. The bottom of the line, whether you want to point the fingers at the players or Flick or blah, no one had an issue with the lineup against Atletico Madrid. No one really had an issue with the lineup against Girona yesterday as well. Not that I've seen anyways. Maybe you have different opinions. At the end of the day, the players did not execute the Barcelona game plan to what they should and to what standard. That is the bottom line. And they got exposed. Yes, Flick came out during this week saying, oh, the team is training really well. We're glazing them, saying that we're going to be hopefully at a different level, and we weren't, right? But what we're seeing is yet an example of the players just not executing the manager's game plan. If I told Omar, hey, play right back, I want you to stay defensively, don't bomb forward, then you bomb forward on one attack because you felt like it, right? Because that happens sometimes. You see some space, like, let me just take it. And we get exposed on the left, on the down that side, and we concede. Everyone's gonna say, oh, Omar went out of position, blah blah blah. When I told him to stay in position. This is not me trying to find excuses, but that is the reality. The players are just not executing Flick's game plan. Because when it's Flick's game plan is working, we're cooking, we're the best team in the world, no one can touch us. You may score against us, we'll just outscore you, blah, blah, blah. Rafa on fire, Lamine, best player in the world, which is still all the case, even after, one or two games. But the players are not performing. Yes, the defense has weaknesses. They've had weaknesses the whole entire season. Whether Flick has nullified that or Flick, again, maybe we had somewhat of an easier run, like we mentioned, apart from Real Madrid in the Super Cup final from the beginning of December until Atletico last Thursday. We really never really had a tough game on paper, apart from maybe Anoeta, which we did end up losing, and Real Madrid, which we won.
What about the Villarreal game?
The other game was tough. Yeah, we won that game. Was it not? Then there's a red card in that game. I think
Yeah,
Buchanan got a red card.
Betis
So
also, we beat Betis at the
Betis away, but we conceded, 3 goals to them, which I think is embarrassing. I think our record against Betis isn't too
crazy.
bad, but
Let's move about Betis.
stuff like this is where I think the players are more to blame, because it's not like Flick's picking poor players. I think his substitutions against Girona were poor. I think his substitutions against Atletico were quite decent. They're probably the subs that I would have done, to be honest with you, at probably around the exact same moments as well. I do question some of the changes that he didn't make in the game against Girona. Not using Cancelo for me is, absolutely preposterous. But I think the players really, really have to take a hard look at themselves. I think Flick realized that as well. After the game, he came out for and said, "Look, I'm giving the players 2 days off. The players look tired. It looks like they're not focusing. It looks like they're not resetting. We're fighting with the referees more than what we're fighting with our performances on the pitch. We're crossing it into 5'8" Ferran Torres when they have, Victor Reyes and Dilly Blind who are over 6 foot. I mean, what are we trying to do here? So stuff like that, I think maybe the players are just not in the right headspace. Too many games. That could be the case. We've been playing every single midweek and weekend. This whole entire 2026 has been no break whatsoever. We had a Copa del Rey or UCL midweek since coming back into the New Year's. There's been a lot of games. Again, I'm not trying to find excuses here, but my point in this whole entire monologue is that whether you are looking at tactically high line, this and that, whatever, the players are not executing the managed game plan, which we saw, of course, happen under Xavi as well in his last season. So I think if the players need to wake up much more. Hopefully, Pedri's coming back. Gabby will be back in 2 weeks as well. Rashford should be back. Let's see if things do end up changing. Maybe try Rashford up front, because Fran and Lewandowski are just not really, tickling my testicles right now with their performances. So time will tell. I think if the results continue to drop off alongside the performances, you really, really have to start looking at the players. I think if it's still prolonged even more, they look at the manager to, say, where's the reaction? If the players are playing poorly, we've mentioned already now for the past few games, the manager now has to make some sort of reaction, make some big decision. There's players on the bench that are hungry and want to fight and want to play week in, week out. Give them maybe that opportunity. Sometimes it'll work out, like we have seen this season with Eric Garcia. Now he's a starter. Sometimes this will work out, like we saw with Casado against Atletico Madrid. So stuff like that needs to change. Stuff like that needs to be adapted. And hopefully now we have a week off, and we'll see if anything changes against Levante this weekend.
Well, we better see some changes against Levante, that's for sure. Because definitely the only way is up at this point, right? The only way should be up. But look, Hafid, I mean, listen, I don't necessarily disagree with most of what the things he said. At the end of the day, I do believe that, yes, he sets up his highline, he sets up his tactic, and the players just don't execute it. I agree. But then again, we already knew this players weren't good enough. All the talk we've been having as Barca fans is how most of these players are not good enough, especially the defense. Let's be real. Like, I feel like the attack and the midfield, in a way, they do execute what the manager usually asks. It's always the defense, for some reason, that don't execute it. But this doesn't surprise anyone. It doesn't surprise me. I know it doesn't surprise you. We knew the defense wasn't good enough before this manager came in. You understand what I mean, right? We already knew. So for me, I kind of look at it and I'm like, well, here's the thing though. In everything in management happens, right? Some managers go to certain clubs and their tactic works to a T. Like you look at Amorim when he was at Sporting. His tactic worked. And when it worked, Sporting were one of the most entertaining teams to watch last season in the Champions League, right? Gyökeres was cooking. A lot of the players that they had were cooking. Guess what? When he went to Manchester United, that tactic completely fell on his head. Why? Because the players didn't execute what the manager wanted. You understand what I mean, right? They didn't execute. And now you're looking at them now on the Carrick. They're doing an amazing job. They're playing very, very well because they're under a manager where he's not, they understand what the manager wants from them, right? Sometimes this happens, right? And this is why I believe that we should go and clear out the defense. That's the thing, right? But until then happen, I look at it and I'm like, well, here's the problem. The lifespan of a manager is very short, right? You have to look after yourself. You need to get results to keep your job. Now, I don't think Flick's job is in danger, but if the players are not executing what you're doing and you keep dropping points, eventually, that's going to be your job, not the players. Some of these players are going to still be here because some of these players, they're down to it under Xavi, and it was Xavi who had to be sacrificed. You understand what I mean, right? So that's what I think. At the end of the day, I feel like Flick should tweak the system just to keep just for the time being until he can be able to clear out the defense, right? Change the defense. Even if you have to change the defense every single week, right? If the defense doesn't work this week, change the defense, change some players and this and this. Just do what you got to do until the end of the season, then completely just clear out the whole defense and get your own defense that can actually do what you want, right? That's what I think. But Javed, obviously, I'm not going to talk much about this, but next step is Levante, and we'll see what happens. And, at the end of the day, all the talk is that Pedri, I saw in Flick's press conference on Sunday, he said basically that, he's not expecting Pedri this month. So I'm sure Pedri will be on the bench, but I don't really expect him to start. And at the end of the day, it just depends on how we play against Levante. If we absolutely dominate them, I can't even see him not even playing in the game. He might just decide, or maybe just play him like last 10 minutes in the game. Maybe. As far as Gavi is concerned, I'm going to be ready to have it. I don't see Gavi starting any point this season. But I've already seen this manager. This manager doesn't rush players who came from long-term. He really doesn't. Players that lack my sharpness, he really takes his time with those guys, right? So, yeah, as far as your point with Rashford is concerned, at this point where I'm like, bro, I've been asking for that for a while. When are we going to say Rashford as a striker? People are like, oh, we saw it in one game. That's just one game. He needs to get used to playing in the attack front line alongside Rafinha and Yamal. Do that. You like doing the experiments in the back defense, right? Why don't you try that in the attack? Give us a few games of Rashford, Yamal, and Rafinha as a front three. Let's see how that works. But yeah, it is what it is. Anyways, guys, big up to every single one of you guys who have been watching, guys. Let us know, me and Hafid, let us both know what you guys think about everything we talked about in this podcast. Not a long show, obviously, guys. It's a pre-recorded show, guys. But we'll be hoping that next week we'll be back, with a live stream, hopefully. But Hafid, any last words, man, before we do get out of here?
Just don't bother the league, man. I still think we'll win the league. But just don't bother the league. I don't even care about it. I don't think Madrid too much now. It's already kind of synced in that we've been knocked out. Especially if we're not going to have a full capacity stadium. Just put the fries in the bag, lock it on the league. I don't even care about UCL. We're going to get PSG or Newcastle. If we get PSG, we're out. We get Newcastle, we can beat them. We're just going to prolong our inevitable elimination. So just win the league. And I think I can definitely walk away from this season satisfied. But we know this team can play at a better level. We know that this team is better than what they're showing us, and they need to show it quickly. We've suffered, 2 absolutely could be season-ending losses. And I told you in the last pod, if we lose against Girona, I think it will derail our season. I still stand by that, even though you can see the positive that the league is still in our hands. If we win every game, we're still in the Champions League. We might get Newcastle, we might get Tottenham and go on an easy draw. But I told you that if we lose that game, or drop points, should I say, even, things could and I think will get derailed. I think the Levante game will be a good question. We go to that game, let's say, for example, and draw it, wrap up the season completely. So we'll see how things do go out on Sunday in front of the home crowd, but this team needs a serious reaction. We do have now a few less games in February. I think we only have 2 games left this month, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think we have Sunday against Levante, then the next Saturday against Villarreal, and that's it. So a lot of time. Then you have Atletico's second leg. So you have 2 big games. I think that's 3. It's now 3 home games in a row. So you have 3 home games in a row. You have 4 home games in the next 5. You have San Mamés away, which, one of my worst. I fear the San Mamés more than I fear the Bernaleo, to be honest. So huge games. A lot of them at home, 3 in a row. Then I'll be in Barcelona. I'll make sure these players fucking play. So 3 home games, get 3 wins. Even if you beat Atletico, you don't make a comeback, at least beat them and, show us something to get us excited, maybe even for the Champions League. The Champions League will be next month, of course, but 2 more games left in the space of, what's now left of this month, almost 10, 11 days, which is a good break for this team. So hopefully we can react.
Yeah, hopefully we can react for sure. But listen, guys, let us know what you guys think of everything we've talked about in the comments section below. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, make sure you guys also subscribe to Barca Boy Man for the latest Barca news, guys. It's always doing uploading videos as far as Barca news is concerned and watch alongs and match reaction. So make sure you guys go subscribe to Barca Boy Man. Big up to you guys. Yet another episode of the Blaugrana Podcast. And peace, you guys. Visca Barca.